million people are now estimated to have fled Ukraine, with the majority heading to Poland.
There were signs up that said, "Ukrainians, we are waiting for you here in Poland. Welcome to Poland."
3 years ago, Poland opened its borders and its heart to Ukrainians fleeing war.
And schools like this have opened up their classrooms to...
But now, attitudes towards them here have changed. Svetlana wants to tell me about her daughter Yulia's recent experience at a school in Warsaw. We've changed both their names, as Svetlana fears reprisals for talking to us.
My child loved school. She always said everything was fine. But 2 weeks ago, she came home and told me a boy said to her, "F off back to Ukraine." I was astonished.
Something even more shocking happened the next day.
Girls from the class above started complaining about Yulia speaking Ukrainian. Then they pretended to fall to the ground shouting, "Missile, get down," and laughing. She came home crying.
Days before, a Russian missile killed scores of civilians in Svetlana's hometown in Ukraine. She tells me the news traumatized Yulia. Svetlana showed us screenshots of conversations she'd had with school staff, complaining about the abuse. The BBC has spoken to dozens of Ukrainians living in Poland who say there's been a noticeable rise in hostility towards them in recent months, including incidents of abuse on public transport, bullying in schools, and encountering xenophobic material online.
My name is Natalia Panchenko. I'm the head of the board of Stand With Ukraine Foundation. Majority of Polish society still support Ukraine and still standing with Ukraine. Some of them are still going to Ukraine with humanitarian convoys.
A few months ago, Natalia's organization noticed a rise in anti-Ukrainian language being used on social media in Poland.
Then this kind of comments from social media started to come on the real life. Recently we started to have more and more such kind of situation. Ukrainians who works on the shop or reception on the hotel. Sometimes some clients started to tell some very xenophobic, very bad things just because they understand that this person had a Ukrainian accent.
Public opinion surveys show that just 50% of Poles are now in favor of accepting Ukrainian refugees. That figure has fallen 7 percentage points in just 4 months. 2 years ago, it was 81%. This is Ukraiński Dom, a centre to help Ukrainian refugees living in Poland. And it really is a buzz with activity. Ukrainians have come here to get help and advice on things like housing and jobs and social welfare. And the Ukrainian consultants are sitting behind little desks and seeing the Ukrainians one by one, giving them help how to settle down to life in Poland.
Most Ukrainians like Poland, likes Polish people, and really thankful to them because Polish is really helped us. So.
At the start of the war, they had sympathy and were very understanding, but now the situation has got a lot worse. I was thrown off a bus by some Polish people just for speaking Ukrainian to my friend. It was horrible.
In the midst of a crucial presidential election campaign, Ukraine has become a hot-button political issue in the live TV debates. The front-runner in the race, Rafał Trzaskowski from Prime Minister Donald Tusk's party, is the most pro-Ukraine candidate. But analysts say he's toned down his rhetoric to try and attract more conservative voters. He's even pledged to take away welfare payments for some Ukrainians. The other two major candidates, conservative Karol Nawrocki and far-right populist Sławomir Mencen, are both sceptical of support for Ukraine. Recently, Mr. Mencen said Poles must stop letting Ukrainians treat them like fools.
Main narratives are that Ukrainians stealing money from Polish budget.
At least some of the anti-Ukraine sentiment is being stirred up online, distributed by bots that experts say come from Russia. Experts like Michał Marek, who runs an NGO that monitors propaganda in Poland.
That Ukrainians do not respect us, that Ukrainians want to rob and kill us, and, for example, that Ukraine and Ukrainians are responsible for the war. We can find a wave of disinformation which starts in Russian infosphere, in Russian-speaking Telegram channels. And after that, we see that they are spreading the same photos, the same text, only just translated by Google Translate.
The Polish government recently said Russia is making an unprecedented attempt using disinformation to interfere in the Polish elections.
More and more Poles are being influenced by Russian disinformation. We will see effect of this after elections. How many Poles want to vote for openly pro-Russian candidates?
As people head to the polling stations in just a few days' time, perhaps no other group will be watching the results quite as nervously as the Ukrainians of Poland.